We all rise for pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending this evening. Carol, would you do the optional prayer, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we ask as leaders that you surround us and help us get centered in what we do. We have a heavy responsibility with great obligations. We look deep into our feelings and are yearning to do our best. We desire to grow without hesitation and resistance. Give us direction, strength, and transform us that we may be better leaders. With sincerity, we ask for your guidance, Lord. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Brannaman?
Here.
Mr. DiMatteo?
Here.
Mrs. Fatica?
Here.
Dr. Faust?
Here.
Mr. Leon?
Here.
Mrs. Law?
Here.
Chairman Horton?
Here. Item 4, we'll have a presentation of citation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Melinda? What's that?
You want everyone else?
Yeah, how many people do we have here?
We've got...
Yeah, we can bring everybody. Everybody.
6, 7? Oh, wonderful. Come on up.
We'll just kind of stand and face like this way over here.
It takes a team.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. That's right, and that's how we got the job done. Okay, so I'm going to read off the citation. It begins with, whereas the Erie County Veteran and War Memorials Inventory Project was launched in August of 2015 by Erie Yesterday, who sought to engage the public in identifying and recording all memorials erected for Erie County military men and women to mark their contributions to our region and our national story. And whereas the stories, histories, photographs, and research brought to life by markers, statues, plaques, signs, parks, and dedications connect us to our past, so we might never forget those whose service played an integral part of our present and our future. And whereas our region, as many others, has been shaped by those whose destiny was cemented by conflict, General Anthony Wayne, Admiral Oliver Hazard Perry, Captain Charles Gridley, Colonel Strong Vincent, and Billy Simpson. And whereas Erie Yesterday, through collaboration with Edinburgh Area Historical Society, Edinburgh University Student Veteran Association, Fairview Area Historical Society, Gannon University Advanced Composition Course, John M. Lilly Library Archives, Penn State Barron, Lawrence Park Historical Society, Mercyhurst University Introduction to Preservation Course, and the Northeast Historical Society, has over the last year received 75 submissions to the Erie County Veteran and War Memorials Inventory from 18 different organizations or individuals, honoring heroism from the French and Indian War through Operation Desert Storm. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join with the grateful citizenry to recognizing these vital organizations for their unwavering commitment to preserve and share the myriad of historical contributions made by Erie County's military men and women. Please give a round of applause. Before we begin, I do want to say this really just began with a phone call, and from there it really took off, and I think it was a great way of people just in general getting engaged in history and in their communities, because it's part of that discovery process of who we are. So, but Melinda, and anybody else?
We'll keep it really, really short. So in trying to figure out exactly what to say, what would be appropriate to say, I came across this quote that I thought was absolutely fantastic. It says that memorials exist at the intersection of memory and history. In regards to memory, our memorials are often erected as part of the grieving process for a community, maybe a group of individuals who have a shared memory. They also serve as focal points during community remembrances, not just like Memorial Day, but which is a large community celebration, but for us as individuals as well. And in history, they act as historical touchstones, which I absolutely love that. Linking the past to the present, and enabling people to connect to and respect the sacrifice of those who died, fought, participated in, or were affected by conflict. And I would like to read only one short little story, because I think this is a great example of the types of contributions we're getting from both the historical organizations and our universities and the public at large. So one of the stories that was shared by an individual, her name is Anita Palmer, is actually the story of her great-grandfather, Horace D. Hubbis. Now, Horace, this is actually one of the historical veterans that we've learned about through this process. Horace was one of the Civil War veterans honored by the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. He enlisted in the Army in 1861. At age 13, he became the drummer boy for the 111th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry. A newspaper article that was printed shortly after his enlistment actually stated that he was the youngest boy to respond to President Lincoln's first call for 300,000 troops to serve during the Civil War. The most important job for the young musician was to use his music to communicate orders during battle, and the beats of his drum could carry commands quicker than a mounted courier, and farther and more clearly than the human voice. Young Horace was injured at the Second Battle of Bull Run and discharged in 1863 because of his injuries. But he re-enlisted that same year. And he participated in General Sherman's March to the Sea in Georgia. And at the end of the war, Horace took part in the Grand Review Parade, which actually took place in Washington, D.C. as part of the celebration of the end of the Civil War. That's just one of the stories that we've received through this inventory submission process. So we really appreciate the opportunity to participate in this kind of undertaking. And we certainly appreciate the acknowledgement and support from Erie County that we've received, particularly JU, in this process. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have the hearing of the public. For those who've called ahead, they've allocated 5 minutes. Anyone else from the public that wishes to speak will be allotted 3 minutes. And there's only one person that called ahead, and that was Randy Barnes.
Good evening, Chairman, council members, guests, administration. My name is Randy Barnes. I live in District 5. And before I start on my topic tonight, I want to urge support of all 7 members of Ordinance 60, I believe it is, on top of the second page, which prohibits county employees from being appointed to boards and offices. I think that I agree with Dr. Faust and the other members of the council. I'm here to talk again about the $3 million that the county loaned, and it sounds like we may not get back. It was pointed out to me by an attorney this past week that I've been kind of on the wrong road and no one's corrected me. The county made this loan to the Erie County General Authority. Erie County General Authority, as of the most recent, has 6 members. Erie County General Authority was to acquire and develop land. If you read what the Erie County General Authority does, it's a general authority with broad powers to acquire, lease, finance, or improve property. We know that the Erie County General Authority was given $3 million of the taxpayers' dollars, and of that $3 million, 1.4 was used to buy land. What I don't understand is, why would the Erie County General Authority not have their name on the title of that land? Why would they not be the first lien holder? I'm thinking that Erie County General Authority fell down in their responsibilities to the taxpayers, because this $3 million was given out, and I'm told there's no recourse to get it back. Part of this project, of this $3 million, the taxpayers, among those in this room and all through the county, put up for this project, was contingent on annual review and approval of the project by the county and the ECGA, Erie County General Authority. So Erie County General Authority, along with the county council, followed this path for several years of this $3 million loan and of another $4 or $5 million worth of loans that this Erie County, the Greater Erie Industrial Development Corporation was basically wasted. And my position is there is directors and officers liability insurance, and we should, as a county and our elected officials, should do everything they can to go after some of that insurance money and help make the taxpayers whole again. Because without that money, the taxpayers in this room and throughout the county are going to have to make that $3 million up plus interest. It has been my position again that several people have let us down. And because that $3 million has disappeared. We have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. So it concerns me a great deal that if we can just bypass $3 million, how much other money are we kind of like just overlooking and just flushing down the toilet and we don't really pay any attention to? That directors and officers liability insurance was paid for by taxpayers' dollars. We paid for the insurance to protect us from authorities and board members that weren't doing their job. And I think that any good attorney could go down and list several steps of where these board members did not do their job. We saw just in the paper this last week that the former chairman of the board, who resigned in January of the GEIDC, who said he thought he might have a conflict of interest, Penn State has a problem with what he's doing for them. Here the guy was, this management company was collecting a fee, chairman of the board of the GEIDC, and after years and years of collecting that money, when the place was ready to file bankruptcy, he says, oh, there could be a conflict of interest here. Kind of a little bit too late and too short. So just in closing, again, I would like to ask not only the solicitors, county council, to actively pursue this directors and officers liability insurance to try to make the taxpayers whole this $3 million. Because this, come November, December, when you have to raise taxes, I think I'll still be here to remind you of the $3 million that you haven't went and gotten. So, and I do apologize for offending anyone with my topic last meeting. I know now that after years and years of having topics on the agenda, that because I offended one or more people on county government, that we are no longer allowed to have topics on the agenda. It's unfortunate, but those kind of things happen. Small-minded things take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Item 6, we have a motion to accept the minutes from previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Brenneman. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anybody else from the public that wants to speak? You got 3 minutes, brother. I'm sorry.
Douglas Lavery, 1 Lexington Road, in North Virginia. I last spoke to council on May 27, 2016 about this project called the Lake Erie Connector. I'd like to thank Mr. Carroll Law for their efforts to try to get issues answered from the ITC company and continuing to take my calls. Since the June 21st meeting Mrs. Law organized, I've contacted several organizations about this project. The Sons of Lake Erie, representing 3,000 members, have submitted a letter to the Department of Energy, Mr. Brian Mills, stating their concerns with the lake and the aquatic life that will be disrupted by blasting the shoreline, about the disruption of the residents' water quality of life by the converter hall. They've also recommended that the second route be used to protect the residents. The PA Fish and Boat Commission have also raised several issues to the same Department of Energy. The Conneaut Township supervisors, my supervisors, have submitted a letter to the ITC company, Mike Ivestor, stating that the issues of local residents need to be resolved before the supervisors can continue to support the project. I have also given Mrs. Law all the information I've mentioned in the packet tonight. The Department of Army and Corps of Engineers have requested residents submit concerns, and several have submitted their responses to that department. I personally spoke to Mr. Fetzi from the Department of Army Corps and Engineers and sent him all the information I have gathered. He told me he spoke to ITC, told them there are several issues with the residents that are being submitted. What I'm here for is to ask council to also write a letter to ITC, the Department of Energy, and the Corps of Engineers about the local residents and other organizations' concerns, and hopefully stating that the council will not support forward movement of this project until all issues have been mutually agreed upon. I also would ask that each individual council member would write a letter to ITC stating the concerns of the West County residents. There are alternative routes for this line. The second is on a Penelec right-of-way that goes from the substation west to the lake on Penelec property. Penelec has stated they do not want these lines on their property. The third route is through Erie to the substation west-south by I-90. Please remember this could be in your neighborhood, not mine. I'm asking council to join this growing group of residents and organizations and ask the ITC to take our questions and concerns seriously and start working with the residents and governments to assure the quality of water, life, property values will be answered and dealt with before construction begins. I just recently started supplying Springfield Township supervisors with information. There is an August 4th zoning variance hearing, so ITC can start doing horizontal drilling from the top of the bluffs down to the shoreline.
Mr. Larry, your 3 minutes have expired, so we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Any other citizens to be heard from the public? Being none, we'll go back to item 6.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the minutes from Sharika's meeting.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman Brenneman and Councilman Leon. Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On the minutes, Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika.
Yes.
Dr. Faust.
Yes.
Mr. Leon.
Yes.
Mrs. Law.
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. We're under item 7, if you're following along with the agenda, reports of county officials. Anyone from the county executives or designee wish to speak?
No reports tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Faust, Finance Committee.
Last Thursday, the council met as the Finance Committee and agreed to put the following items on tonight's agenda. They include items, ordinances 52 through 60. We further discussed that ordinances number 52, 53, 56, 57, and 58, we'll move those to second readings tonight to pass them formally for issues of timeliness. And also put the following resolutions on tonight's agenda, number 35, 36, and 37, as well as to approve the reappointment of Trevor Pearson to a first full 3-year term on the Erie County Library Board, and also to approve the sale of parcels from the repository for unsold properties according to the index numbers listed in our agenda tonight in the report.
Thank you, Dr. Faust. Mr. Brenneman, do you have a personnel report?
Mr. Chair, the Personnel Committee met. We had 2 presentations, but we did not have any items to add to the agenda. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Law, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the last public meeting we had in June, I've attended the payroll committee meeting on the 29th of June, where we discussed the possible classes and levels of pay for the non-bargaining employees. Our next meeting is set for August 4th. I understand that that's been moved. On the same day, I attended a meeting on the proposal of LECOM to Erie County for an agreement on the exemption of partial exemption of their properties under the umbrella of LECOM. It was presented to the people that attended and discussed. No decisions were made. I also attended on the 30th of June a committee meeting with Mr. Leon, Mr. Horton, and Doug Smith to narrow the field of applicants for the human relations position. We met again on the 8th of July to interview most qualified applicants for the new human relations employee. We had several good and qualified applicants. It was a very difficult decision to narrow it down to just a few. On the 11th, I attended the assessment board meeting where the motion to remove the exemptions of Mill Creek Community Hospital and LECOM of all the properties under the umbrella and subsidiary properties, the goal was to have them come in and review the exempt properties. The rest of the meeting was executive session. I also spoke to several of my constituents on several subjects. One discussion was on the Lake Erie Connector project and concerns about blasting, contamination of water in the area and the effect of water table and a possible better route. A new suggested route would not affect the residents as much as the current route. I looked into the possibility of one constituent receiving an attorney at no cost for a criminal case. I spoke with Pat Kennedy. She gave me some very good information on that subject. One constituent had concerns on the new makeup of the Metropolitan Planning Commission. This person was questioning the reduction of the board to 9 members, and it was felt that the elimination of municipal participation to the Erie Planning Commission was going to be a problem. A McCain Township resident called and wanted to discuss the EMTA issues and give their opinion on this issue and asked me my stance on the situation. I have had a lot of calls and made a lot of calls also on this issue, and it looks to me like this is a legal matter at this point. The ball is rolling and things are in motion. End of my report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Law. Councilwoman Fatika, would you like to give a report?
Yes, thank you. On July 15th, along with Councilman Brenneman, I attended the 4th Annual Asbury Woods Fundraiser. This event was sponsored by local businesses, Erie Community Foundation, and our own Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority, who on a regular basis puts up with my never-ending nagging about Asbury Woods Partnership funding. And AGRA kindly accepts my pleas as an advocate and continues to support and recognize Asbury Woods and its vision to preserve and provide all members of our extended community with meaningful environmental, educational, and recreational experiences. In addition, on July 25th, I was honored to attend a ribbon-cutting ceremony of Asbury Woods Brown's Farm. This was a culmination of efforts by Asbury Woods Partnership, Mill Creek Township Supervisors, Senator Sean Wiley, Representative Ryan Bizzaro, Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Department of Economic Development, Bureau of Recreation and Conservation, Keystone Recreation Parks and Conservation Fund, and Kathy Rodzik with the County of Erie Greenways Grant, all of whom joined forces to protect this natural space from development and maintain the property as a community asset. Now, this area of Brown's Farm extends to Walnut Creek, which has been declared an impaired stream. And I am pleased to report that the Erie County Department of Health has taken a proactive approach to protect our streams. A per diem staff has been hired, and that makes it able for them to inspect the increasing number of small flow sanitary sewers. If a problem is found, the professional Erie County Department of Health staff will educate the owners and provide referral help to correct the problems and protect our waterways. An update on the Zika virus was presented at the Board of Health meeting on July 25th. It was reported that the state Zika grant will indeed pay for the mosquito traps, tests, and to educate on Zika. 4 traps will be set in Erie County, and in addition, educational information to prevent mosquito bites and limit the number of mosquitoes will be disseminated throughout Erie County. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Fatika. Councilman Leon, you have a report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This morning at 10 o'clock, I attended the meeting of the Erie Industrial Development Authority. And as the liaison to it, I was kind of surprised to find that only 1 member showed up. And I realize that in some cases, I don't even want to fault those that were appointed, because the last meeting happened in November of 2015, and they should have been holding meetings on a monthly basis, but because of the problem with the bankruptcy cases, everybody seems to think that there's nothing to do, but there is. There's quite a bit to do. First of all, one of the issues is the Lord TIF payment, and it needs approval from the Industrial Development Authority, and unfortunately, you can't do it with one member present and another one on the phone on a part-time basis. So I immediately also called Mr. Brenneman to indicate to him that his one appointment has passed away, and to try to find an appointment as soon as possible for that particular authority. I don't want to talk too much on the, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know that Mr. Barnes left here indicating that the Erie County General Authority had the $3 million. But I believe the Erie County General Authority also has the lease, or not the lease, the mortgage for buildings 1 and 3 at Knowledge Park. And with that in mind, I think that they have some type of leverage, but unfortunately, because of the fact that they're in the bankruptcy hearing, there isn't much they can do. They can only bring it up, and I don't know what's going to happen as far as the bankruptcy hearing is concerned. That's going to be up to the judge at that particular time. Also, I think we need to set guidelines for many of the appointees in these authorities. If they miss 3 meetings, I think it's time to replace them. I really mean that, because some of these meetings are very critical and very important, and unless they show up, there isn't much business that they can do. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Leon. Councilman Brennan, DiMatteo, would you like to give a report?
Yeah, just real quickly, being a representative from the 6th District, and we being in our wonderful 6th District tonight here at Greenfield Township Fire Hall, I'd like to thank everybody from Greenfield Township for being so hospitable. It's nice that we come and we have refreshments put out for us and snacks. We should have that on a regular basis at the courthouse. But in saying that, I think it's noteworthy here too that we are at the Greenfield Township Volunteer Fire Hall that was the Volunteer Fire Company of the Year for the state of Pennsylvania. Kevin, how long is the streak now?
Since November of
14? 13?
2013, and it's over 1,200 calls.
1,200 calls without missing a call. That's pretty noteworthy. But again, thanks to the people from Greenfield Township for being hospitable, and thank you for all for coming tonight.
Just very quickly, they also finished 2nd place at the Cherry Festival.
There you go, that's right.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8, under old business. There being none, we'll go right to new business.
Mr. Chairman, make second readings of ordinance 52, 53, 56, 57, and 58. I'll make that.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Leon, seconded by Dr. Faust. Any questions? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On the motion, Mr. DiMatteo?
Yes.
Mrs. Fatico?
Yes.
Dr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. Leon?
Yes.
Mrs. Law?
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman?
Yes.
Chairman Horton?
Yes. Item A, second reading of ordinance number 52, 2016. Would you read that in the title only, please, Mr. Smith?
A second reading of ordinance number 52, 2016, 21st, 2016 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $88,693 for adult probation flooring and other office updates.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman Leon, seconded by Councilman Brenneman. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I think
yes,
that the
ma'am.
audience should know that this is not county dollars, that this is the adult probation fund that's going to be paying for this.
Mr. Horton, what was the amount on that? I think that was
$88,693.
I thought I saw on the agenda the amount.
Is that correct?
The correct amount should be $88,693, but I thought.
That's what we had.
That's what we have.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On ordinance 52, Mrs. Fatika?
Yes.
Dr. Faust?
Yes.
Mr. Leon?
Yes.
Mrs. Law?
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman?
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo?
Yes.
Chairman Leon? I'm sorry,
Just
Chairman
vote.
Horton. Putting you back in the driver's seat, boss.
Well, yes. Item B, second reading of ordinance number 53, 2016, in title only, please, Mr. Smith.
A second reading of ordinance number 53, 2016, amending ordinance number 8, 2012, inspection of organized campgrounds by the Erie County Department of Health.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Councilman DiMatteo, seconded by Councilwoman Fatika. Are there any questions or discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On ordinance 53, Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika.
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. Item C, first reading of ordinance number 54, 2016, in title only, please, Mr. Smith.
A first reading of ordinance number 54, 2016, 2016 revised environmental fee schedule in the Erie County Department of Health.
Item D, first reading of ordinance number 55, 2016, in title only, please.
A first reading of ordinance number 55, 2016, third 2016 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $18,744 for increase in environmental fees.
Item E, second reading of ordinance number 56, 2016, in title only, please.
A second reading of ordinance number 56, 2016, fourth 2016 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $74,500 from a Highmark donation and new line items for creation of a dental bureau.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilwoman Fatika, seconded by Councilman Brenneman. Are there any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
On ordinance 56, Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika.
Yes.
Dr. Faust.
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. Item F, second reading of ordinance number 57, 2016, in title only, please.
A second reading of ordinance number 57 of 2016, fifth 2016 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $2,400 and creation of transfer line item for Greenway grant funds.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman Leon and seconded by Councilwoman Fatika. Are there any questions or
Mr.
discussion?
Chair?
Yes.
Although I am a strong supporter of the health department and this program, I do not believe that it's in the spirit of the program for the county to be awarding a grant to itself. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
It's my knowledge.
Councilwoman Fatika.
Thank you. That this ties in because of the connection with the health department in terms of tick control, which is kind of vital to the Greenway project.
Again, it's not my
Just
issue.
making sure.
It's not my issue.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On ordinance 57, Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
No.
Mr. DiMatteo,
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. Item G, second reading of ordinance number 58, 2016, in title only, please.
The second reading of ordinance number 58 of 2016, 2016 Planning Fund budget, revised revenue and expenditures of $2,400 and creation of line item for Greenways grant to Department of Public Health.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Actually, it's been properly moved and seconded. by Councilman Leon, seconded by Dr. Faust. Are there any questions or discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
On ordinance 58, Mr. Brenneman,
No.
Mr. DiMatteo,
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. Item H, first reading of ordinance number 59, 2016, in title only.
A first reading of ordinance number 59 of 2016, amending Article 3, Section 1D14 of the Administrative Code of Erie County, previously amended by ordinance number 63 of 2015.
Item I, first reading of ordinance number 60, in title only, please.
A first reading of ordinance number 60 of 2016, amending Article 2, Section 5A of the Administrative Code of Erie County, previously amended by ordinance number 59, 2016.
Item J, possible adoption of resolution number 35, 2016, in support of Erie County signing on to the Stepping Up Initiative.
Resolution number 35, 2016, in support of Erie County signing on to the Stepping Up Initiative.
So moved. Oh, second. Sorry.
Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman Brenneman, seconded by Councilman DiMatteo. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
On resolution number 35, Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika.
Yes.
Dr. Faust.
Yes.
Mr. Leon.
Yes.
Mrs. Law.
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman.
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes. Item K, possible adoption of resolution number 36, Mr. Smith.
Resolution number 36, 2016, exonerating taxes on one abandoned trailer property number 40-012-046.0-001.19 in Summit Township and the Fort LaBeouf School District.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman Leon, Councilman DiMatteo. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
On resolution number 36, Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon.
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
may I move that we exonerate taxes on the trailer in the Corey Area School District and Wayne Township listed as the index number under Resolution 37.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Councilman DiMatteo. Dr. Faust, any discussion? Roll call, please.
On resolution 37, Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the reappointment of Trevor Pearson to a first full 3-year term on the Erie County Library Board.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Dr. Faust. Councilman Leon, any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
On the appointment, Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman.
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the possible sale of parcels from the depository according to the index numbers listed in our agenda tonight.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Dr. Faust, seconded by Councilman Leon. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
On sale of parcels, Mrs. Law,
Yes.
Mr. Brenneman,
Yes.
Mr. DiMatteo.
Yes.
Mrs. Fatika,
Yes.
Dr. Faust,
Yes.
Mr. Leon,
Yes.
Chairman Horton.
Yes.
Adjourn.
We move to adjourn. Adjourn.